Guys, can you get seated, please? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم، وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome back. I hope all of you, inshallah, doing well. And masakumullah bil khair wal afiyah, inshallah. So, today, inshallah, we are going to talk about Ayatul Kursi. And so, first thing, we're going to listen to the recitation of Ayatul Kursi. And after that, inshallah, we're going to talk about a little of explanation and tafsir, inshallah. I'll play now.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في
لو سمحتم السلايدز ده تخلوها. نعم أحسنتم. إلهي أنطقني بالهدى وألهمني التقوى ووفقني للتي هي أزكى واستعملني بما هو أرضى. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. So we are going to talk inshallah about Ayatul Kursi as we just listened to the recitation. So Ayatul Kursi, as you know, it's part of Surah Al-Baqarah, right? Ayat 255 to 257. Now remember, at the end of the class, again, we're going to have a Menti trivia, and most of the questions are derived from the lecture. So that's another reason to pay attention. So, okay, yes. So that's Ayat 255. Now, in a previous session, we said that some of the ayat of the Quran, right, they have special names. Anybody remembers what do we call these kind of ayat that has special names? Like the one that we are talking about, Ayatul Kursi. Before we talked about Ayatul Amana, right? If you remember. And then other Ayatul Nur, for example, Allahu Nuru Samawati wal Ard. Ayatul Wilaya. Ya Ayatul Tabligh, for example. Ya ayyuha Rasulu balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. All these ayat, they have special names, right? Anybody remembers what do we call these kind of ayat? We mentioned that there. which is related to the name that is given to the first day of a month, of a qamari, like, month, right? So for example, we say what? We say غرة Ramadan, غرة Rajab. غرر الآيات. غرر الآيات, okay, means the ayat that at the lead, okay, they're very, like, all Quran is important, but they are kind of very significant when it comes to the theology and aqidah, right? So one of the very probably most famous غرر الآيات is Ayatul Kursi. I'm sure that most of you already have memorized. Who have memorized Ayatul Kursi? Can they just, yeah, the majority. And also the gentlemen, the ladies. But anyway, it has a lot of merits. Okay, we have so many traditions. We don't have time to talk about this, especially for protection. Whoever recite Ayatul Kursi at the bedtime are going to be protected. If you have something valuable, precious, and you want to make sure that nobody, like, no thief going to, like, take it from you, again, you read Ayatul Kursi on it, and so many things. In fact, in Ayatul Kursi, okay, we can say the whole concept of Islam, the whole concept of Tawheed is there, okay? So now we just listen to Ayatul Kursi, okay? I'm sure that after, inshallah, this lecture, okay, the way that then when you recite it, we're going to recite it at the end, and you're going to see the difference, okay? So this shows the importance of making tadabbur in the Quran, right? Remember we said, like, the ranks of paradise, عدد درجات الجنة, is equivalent to the number of verses. So since we have 6,236 ayah, so this is the ranks of paradise. And if we want to be at the highest rank, inshallah, okay, so we have to learn, okay, not just to memorize or, like, recite it correctly, that's the first step, but to understand, okay? So please pay attention in this beautiful journey, okay? So then going to change, inshallah, the way that we understand it. By the way, it's called Ayatul Kursi, but it consists 3 ayat, right? Now, the main Ayatul Kursi is this one, but usually the following 2 ayats also, they are considered to be part of Ayatul Kursi, right? So in total, we have 3 ayat. So Surah Al-Baqarah, 255 to 257. These are the 3 ayat that altogether considered to be Ayatul Kursi. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-Hayyul Qayyum. Allah Jalla Jalaluh, right? What is Allah? Allah is name, of course. Names that belongs to the Datullah Ta'ala. So nobody, like, have you seen anybody who's called Allah? Like, do people name their children Allah? Of course not. Yeah? Abdullah, of course, we have, for example, and so many others. But Allah Ta'ala is uniquely used for the holy existence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Now, the beauty of these, okay, in fact, every phrase, it explains the previous one. So if someone asks, let's say a non-Muslim person, he heard Allah, okay, it's a beautiful, even like when you look at the harmony that exists there, right? The melody kind of in the word Allah. It's very easy to pronounce it. So, but let's say someone who's new to that says, okay, what is Allah? Who is Allah? Now the rest of ayat talks about this. Allah, La ilaha illahu. So there is no God but Allah. So let us also look at the translation and come back. So let's read the translation first. Okay? Allah, there is no deity except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. Neither drowsiness overtakes Him nor sleep. To Him belongs whatever is the heavens and whatever is on the earth. Who is it that can intercede with Him except by His permission? He knows what is presently before them and what will be after them. And they encompass not a thing of His knowledge except for what He wills. His kursi, okay, now kursi, I couldn't say chair. Well, the verbal meaning is chair, but I can explain this. Extends over the heavens and the earth, and their preservation tires Him not. And He is the Most High, the Most Great. Okay, so that's the kind of the normal translation. We're going to come back to our slide here. Okay, so Allahu la ilaha illahu. This la ilaha illahu, it's called as-salb wal-ijab in Arabic, right? As-salb wal-ijab. What does it mean? It means negation, right? You negate that la ilaha. So if you just read this, La ilaha. This is what? This is kufr, kind of, right? La ilaha, there is no God, right? But then what? Illahu. That's why it's called negation, then proof. So the first thing is we negate that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, that's the strongest belief. So you kind of nullify, okay, you make them all void any other God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? It's called negation, as-salbu wal-ijab, right? So, La ilaha illa hu, okay? Now, this is the kind of irfani stuff, so we don't want to talk about who, what does it mean, and whatever. But I just want to continue. Al-Hayyu al-Qayyum. Now, remember I said each phrase is going to kind of explains the previous one, right? So, Allah, okay, I got it, like there is no God, there is no deity, but Allah. Now, why is it that illahu? Because He is the Hayyul Qayyum. Okay? What does Al-Hayy mean? Al-Hayy means the ever living, right? In fact, the only living thing we can say. The only living. He's the source of life. He gives lives to others, right? Imagine if it wasn't the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there would be no life at all, right? That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created life, there was nothing called Adam, right? There was nothing before that. So why is He Al-Hayy? You know, Alif Lam, when it comes, make it definite, right? Definite means, like we know, for example, when I say Al-Muallim, it means I know which Muallim. But I might say, Ra'aytu Mualliman, I saw a teacher, right? We don't know which teacher, so I have to get. But when I say Ra'aytu Al-Muallim, or for example, Qara'tu Al-Kitab, this Alif Lam means it is known to somebody who is listening to you, right? So I say Al-Hayy. So Alif Lam means definite, means clear. Who is that? Who is it that we're talking about? So He is the source of all life. Without Him, in fact, there would have been no existence. He's the source of all existence, right? Now, again, we'll continue. Al-Qayyum, right? Now, what does Al-Qayyum mean? Okay, comes from, now, initially, for example, I'm sitting, right? When I stand up, what do you say? Qumtu, qama, right? Qama means stand up, right? Or stood up. And then, so that's the first level. I was sitting there, I stood up, right? That's change, is a kind of change in my posture. Then the next step is qawwam, right? Qawwam. We have in the Quran. Who knows the ayah that talks about qawwam? And it's usually misused by men. Yeah. What is it? Yeah, no? Exactly, thank you. الرجال قوامون على النساء, right? Many try to kind of misinterpret this ayah, said kind of to give superiority over like men over women, which is completely wrong. Okay? Qawwam, yes, Abbas. Overheated? What's that? I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. So هو الحي we were saying qayyum. Yeah. We were saying qawwam. Qawwam means what? Means when you take the hand of someone else and try to raise it with you, right? That's called qawwam. So not only me, I take them. So this in fact shows the role of men in the world. So they have to look after their wives, right? Their spouses. They have to provide them, for example, monetary when it comes to shelter. Okay, so even if the woman is so rich, it's not her responsibility to spend from her fortune. Okay, it's the of in fact the male, in fact, and let's say the husband to take care of that. Okay, so this is qawwam mean. Yeah, it means in fact it's giving more responsibility, putting more responsibility on the shoulder of a man. It never gives a superiority of men over women. Qawwam. This means qawwam. Okay, so when you hold the hand of someone, okay, and then raise those as well. Okay, the third level, okay, is what? It's called qayyim, right? Qayyim means what? You know the meaning of qayyim? Yeah. No. If it's from the same root, okay? Qama, and then we said qawwam and qayyim. You see that sometimes, for example, the parents are considered to be qayyim of their children before reaching the age of, let's say, 18, whatever. Yeah? Sinnu taklif. Qayyim means when you have authority, right? For example, a little kid, okay, they have money, you can't spend it. Okay, there's a qayyim, like for example, the one of the relatives or parents, wherever, okay? Or the judge, in fact, orders someone to be qayyim, means looking after. Let's say there's an orphan, okay, and they have money. So what do they do with the money? Okay, so they set a qayyim, means somebody who is going to take care of the whatever the money, whatever the belongings of this kid until he reaches to the age of, taklif or 18 or whatever. Yeah, alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. So, okay, this is qayyim. Yeah, you see that we are kind of increasing the level of authority. Okay, we started with qa'im, I have authority myself. Then we said qawwam, hold the hand of other person and raise it. And then we said qayyim, it means no, you take care of, you look after of every affairs of this person, where you are qayyim on that person. And finally, qayyum. Qayyum is valid only about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that He's not only taking care of everything, okay? He is the one that gives authority and power and provide us with the strength of standing up, holding the hand of, become qayyum of someone, and so on and so forth, right? This means qayyum. It's only valid. We can't say a person is a qayyum on other person. No, never. Qayyum only belongs to the holy that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means without His, in fact, support, everything would have perished, okay? And in fact, collapsed. Yeah? So qayyum, think about the heavens, samawat, wal ard, galaxies, constellations, who is it that holds them? Okay, stable. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from the tiniest thing when it comes to the rizq and sustenance of the creatures, to the highest level, to the affairs of alam al-ghayb, unseen, and the alam al-hudur, right? Everything, malaika, the angels, the prophets, everything is what? Is under the control and qabdatullah ta'ala. This means qayyum, okay? Qayyum said, look, take care of everything. So why it that Allah is la ilaha illa, there is no God but Allah? Because He is the only al-hayy, the source of all life and existence, and He is the qayyum, the only entity that He can hold this all, right? Then continues. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that hayy and qayyum, isn't it like for us, if I, for example, spend 10, 12 hours working, what's going to happen after that? I feel tired, right? I need to take rest, correct? So after hard work, we fall asleep, for example. So right after that, Allah wants to bring this kind of simile to our mind that, it's, right? Yes, with all these things, with all these heavy things, he would never get into. Sinna means like, before falling asleep, what happens? You get this drowsiness, nu'as, right? Sinna means nu'as. That this is something out of our control, right? We don't have control on that. So once we sometimes we are listening to a lecture, okay, and then we fall asleep. Yeah. So لا تأخذه سنة. Yeah, with all these responsibilities, okay, that even we can't think of it, لا تأخذه, never any drowsiness or sleep overwhelm him, right? Then we continue. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. Again, we ask ourselves now, we want to do all this important stuff, okay? How would I, for example, I want to build, let's say, a skyscraper, okay? I want to have this, let's say, project. Do I have the resources? Okay, since Allah is Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum, does He have the resources? Of course, because lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Okay, again, don't forget about, like, every phrase kind of expands the previous one, okay, and gives us a sense of that. So the lahu ma fi samawati wa ma, whatever is in the heavens, on the earth, belongs to Him, right? And then we continue. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. Now, yashfa in general, shafa'a is intercession, right? But there are two types of intercessions. The one that we are quite mostly familiar with is shafa'a that we receive, inshallah, from the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt as a day of judgment, right? When we are in short of our deeds, good deeds, okay, I have done mistakes, whatever, some sins, and then we need the shafa'a, intercession of Prophet, okay? Of course, we have to have the requirements for that, right? It doesn't come randomly. I have to be eligible, okay, to get that shafa'a, which is a different discussion. But that one type, this is called shafa'a, is kind of tashri'iyya, legislative intercession. Okay, but we have another one is called shafa'a at-takwiniyya, intuitive, right? Like hidayah takwiniyya and hidayah tashri'iyya. Similarly, we have the shafa'a, right? Good. Now, what does it mean? Now, when you think about, for example, if the water boils at what? At 100 Celsius, right? This is a rule, right? This is a rule, and based on that, or for example, we have 4 seasons. How does it rain? Okay, how does it rain from the materialistic perspective? Well, the waters from the oceans evaporates, right? Then it meets, let's say, a cold front, right? So the cloud's going to be formed when the clouds move, okay, with the wind. Then it meets a cold front, and then starts raining, right? This is what? This is kind of the rule that we have for the phenomenon of rain, right? And so all these, everything when you think of it is the cause and effect, right? Al-illa wal-ma'lul. Allah subhanahu has created this universe, okay, based on this cause and effect. So this is the rule for Allah subhanahu, the set of laws and rules, right? So we should never think that, yes, Allah has created that, but can we imagine that things are happening without the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He just created cause and effect. So when this cause happens, for sure the effect going to happen? No. Okay? And this is the shafa'a. Man dha alladhi yashfa'u indahu illa. What is it that intercedes without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So all these set of laws that all of us believe in it, like the physics, chemistry, all the sciences are based on that, right? All the, whatever we see now, human beings made a law of innovations, whatever. These are based because they learned about these laws and rules, whatever, okay? So they were able to, for example, build a plane so you can travel, but all these, in fact, okay, which are a set of laws and rules that we have, they are all, in fact, a creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So it's with His permission that He allowed this. That's why, for example, when miracles take place, like when for Musa alayhi salam, for example, came to the river, not the river, the sea, right? And with his staff, he hit the water and split the water into 2 portions. Okay, how does that work? Is that something material? No. Okay, that's another type of cause and effect, right? But not of the materialistic one that we know, correct? So, but everything that we see, every kind of rules and law, whatever that they are here, they are not there independently. They are everything under the control, the continuous, in fact, control and authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what means, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Okay, we continue. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. He knows what is, in fact, in front of them and what is behind of them. Now, again, we have mentioned this in toward the very beginning of our class. We mentioned بين أيديهم. بين أيديهم, what is it that in front of you? Okay, it means the future. Okay, whatever is going to come in the future. It's in the بين أيديهم. خلفهم means what? The past, right? Now, if you remember, yeah, we had it in one of the ayahs that when shaitan wants to kind of whispers and deceives us, okay? لا يأتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن أيمانهم وعن شمائلهم, right? So the shaitan is going to approach us from front, from back, from right, from left. We talked about that in details. We said, so back means what? Back means, in fact, our relation with our creator, right? So you want to say, no, you were just born randomly, whatever, Mother Nature. We hear this from Mother Nature created us, right? So when we have like kind of full materialistic perspective, right? So we said, forget about that. There's no, like, who says that there's a Lord, whatever? Okay, so this is what? خلفهم. That's behind. How we were created, okay? And then whatever, like all types of creation that we went through, right? And وَمَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ is, in fact, what is it that's going to come? It's the akhirah, it's the hereafter, right? So shaitan wants to cut this. Say, no, enjoy this life, okay? And alaykum salam. Yeah, and this is it. This is life. Who cares? Like, who said that? Who went there to tell you that there is another alam? There's another realm called akhir, right? So that's, in fact, we're going to come in the future. So now again, think about in order for, like, let's think about a king, right, or a governor of a city, right? Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tries to bring that closer to our mind. Okay, now a king or governor has all these, let's say, authorities. Okay, in order to keep their government or kingdom safe, okay, what do they need? They need to have high level of security, right? They need to know what's going on. That's why we have, for example, these security agencies. We have CIA, for example, right? So what do? They want to find out who's, for example, acting against the government. Okay, what kind of plots they are probably having in mind, what to do. Okay, so it's having the security and knowledge about what's going on is, in fact, something that guarantees the continuation of the safety, okay, of your kingdom, let's say, right? So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. There is nothing that is concealed or hidden from the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He is aware. Okay, so nobody is out of control, right, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In dua, Kumayr say, like, we can't, wherever I go, I am inside your kingdom, oh Allah, right? So it's not, there's no place that I can escape from that. Okay? So يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. He knows about everything, whatever going to come in the future, whatever happened in the past, and the hereafter, what's going to happen, all unseen, right? So everything is, in fact, under or is encompassed by His knowledge. وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. They will never encompass a piece of His knowledge only by what He allows. Okay? So whatever we see now, all the developments, like all the science, it's with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He allowed us to get this part of knowledge. Okay? So, and then إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. So if we are looking now, this is for the materialistic knowledges, right? How would I know about what's going to happen after death? And the barzakh, for example, the alam barzakh. What's going to happen in the alam al-akhirah and the hereafter? How would I know? Is there a way that I can test that in the laboratory, for example? Of course not, right? So the only way that I can collect information in God is through what? إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. It's through the mashi'atullah, right? And that, now we'll come back to Quran. What Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. If you are pious, Allah gonna teach you. Okay, gonna tell you what's gonna happen, right? Those who follow the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commands, then Allah is gonna open the doors of knowledge to them, right? And so on. So there are, again, in fact, ways that we can, because everything is, the knowledge comes through bima sha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to be through the mashi'ah, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, the will is nothing that comes randomly. It is through, again, certain ways, right? So we have to do it the right way. Through the prophets, for example, the prophets comes what? They bring the wahi, the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So they tell us, for example, what's going to happen? What is the philosophy of existence? What is awaiting us? Okay? So so a human being, is it really between this small time window between birth and death? No. Okay. In fact, this is very little, let's say, piece of the life of a human being, because he's gonna have an eternal life. Okay. So if you go to, for example, you want to go for vacation, right? Somewhere, let's say Niagara Falls. You want to stay 2 nights. You start planning 2 weeks ahead. Okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to fill up your time? Right? Imagine we are traveling to somewhere that's going to be forever. We're going to abode that person, right? You're going to be that place, okay, forever. So isn't it we have to really plan for it, and we have to acquire all the knowledge, right? All the knowledge is going to happen. And the only way that we can do that is through the bimasha, which is through the prophets, right? The prophets, they tell us, in fact, how their life going to look like and what is required to, in fact, there to be successful. And then وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And now Kursi, okay, I believe it's the only place where Kursi was mentioned here. We have in Surah An-Naml also, but that's different, okay? But as Kursi for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only place that is mentioned. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ. What does Kursi mean? Now, as I said, Kursi in like if you just want to find translation, it means chair, okay? But the chair by itself, okay, what is it? It's a symbol of, for example, you see that again, a king or a governor, they have what they call throne, arsh, right? They sit on it, and usually it's like huge and probably full of jewelries and whatever. Okay, so kursi, and also like it means, and even in academia, right? You see, this person is the chair of, for example, computer science, right? Is a chair of biology, for example, and so on, right? So it's a symbol of what? Of being, the most knowledgeable probably among, let's say, that community. So here, so a kursi, in fact, it refers to the knowledge, to the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Versus the concept of arsh. So these two are very close, okay? The kursi and arsh, yeah? But the arsh, in fact, is a symbol of power, of might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Stawa ala al-arsh, right? What does it mean, stawa ala al-arsh? Right? Like it means he is settled on the throne. What does that mean? Okay, it means that, so it's a symbol of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, arsh, right? And kursi is the symbol or manifestation of the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? In order to be powerful, right, what do you need? You need the knowledge, right? If you are not knowledgeable, you can't have power or something. So in order to be to get the strength and power, you need to have the knowledge, right? For example, I want to be a pilot, okay? To let's say pilot of this Boeing 787. Can I just do it randomly, even if I'm very strong in my body? No, I have to what? To study and see how I would be able to, like, probably spend 6 to 8 years studying this and then doing a lot of, let's say, usually you sit in a simulator, okay, and do these kind of training in order to be able then to, and they start with smaller planes all the way until you get to a larger aircraft, yeah? So the knowledge is, to be powerful in something, you need initially the knowledge, right? You need to be a knowledge. That's why you go to school, for example. That's why we study, for example, medicine. We study engineering and so on. Because I want to then utilize my knowledge in order to do something that's concrete, right? Good. So وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has encompasses everything, including the heavens and the earth, right? Now again, remember each phrase describes the previous one. وَلَا يَؤُودُ حِفْظُهُ. When you think about it, with all this power, how Allah subhanahu manages. For us, for example, I have this little, let's say, I have 40 people, let's say, working under my supervision. Okay, it's really hard to manage them, to make sure that everything is going properly. Okay, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is in charge of all these affairs, okay, of heavens and earth, wherever, what? Is it tiring for him? وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. The protection, they will never make him tired of this, right? Or overwhelmed by this mission, right? وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. Why? Because he is Al-Aliyyun Azim, right? Okay, now we have, because he's the most high, the most great, we have to like watch the time. So let's move on to the rest. So we talked about this. We said he's the only, in fact, alive. So alive means having the knowledge and power. In fact, if I ask you, do we consider this, if I give you two objects, let's say, and say which one is alive, which one is not, right? So how do you gauge it? How do you measure it? It's based on two things, knowledge and power. that object that has knowledge and power is considered to be alive, right? For example, consider this table with someone, right? With Ali, for example, right? Ali, and so say, okay, who's alive? Okay, you see, okay, which one has knowledge and power? Ali has knowledge and power, but this one has none of these, right? So in order to be alive, you need these two things, right? That's why I say Hayyul Qayyum, right? We saw it. And Allah is the sole source of all types of life, emits only and only from Him. The sustainer is the result of these two infinite qualities of knowledge and power. That's why, yeah, He's a sustainer. And the concept of tiredness in humans and required wealth and resources. Yeah. So, which we said that for us to be able to do something, I need to have the wealth and the resources. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is what? Lahu ma fis sama. He has all of it, right? Okay, so we talk about this. So let me skip over these. Now, we reach this part, okay? By the way, this is very important, okay? I need your special attention. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. There shall be no compulsion in acceptance of the religion, right? The right course has become clear from the wrong. So whoever disbelieves in tyrant and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold with no break in it, and Allah is hearing and knowing. Yeah. So this is very controversial, right? Sometimes when you, for example, you see something wrong, okay, somebody's doing something wrong, okay, and try to, for example, stop them, said, why? Allah says, La ikraha fi din. Okay, how come you want to stop me from doing this, right? Allah said no ikraha. So this is very important. Now, what does it mean? Again, when I just say it in very kind of short description. In fact, we can look at this from two perspectives, okay? So the first is, so there is no force in accepting the religion, okay? When you think about it, where is the, so the religion, when it's gonna in fact sit in our soul, right? It's in the heart, right? It's not something, you know, you can force people to do something against their will, but the faith, the iman, faith and aqidah, the theology sits in our what? In our. So really, it doesn't make sense if you want to, by force, you want to make people, for example, Muslim, right? That's why in Islam we never have this kind of jihad al-hujumi. We have what's called jihad tadafu'i, defensive, right? To defend Islam. We never, so that's why the futuhat that was made, they are controversial, okay? It's not guaranteed that they are kind of accepted or permitted. Anyway, so this makes sense, right? There's no force, because we can't expect somebody who accepted the religion, okay, with force, they will not really, they're not going to be steadfast in their belief. Right? There's no, because why? They have to accept it, right? Or, for example, if I ask someone why you are Shia, why you are Muslim, says, well, because my parents are. This is not accepted. That's why we don't have taqleed in the usul al-din. In the theology principles, it's not allowed to say because Ayatollah Sistani said this, said Allah is one, the oneness of Allah, so I say Allah one. No. You have to come to the realization and, you know, to really touch this reality in order to say that, okay? But in Furu' al-Din, of course, that's fine. Because I got doubts. Did I pray 3 rak'ah or 4 rak'ah? Okay, what did I say? Okay, you can go to Risala Amaliyah and then find out. Okay, that's other knowledges, right? That's fine. You can yourself, you can go and study, but since most people are busy with other stuff, so they would go to the scholar to find out, correct? That's quite fine. So the taqleed is in furu' al-din. Not how would I do the hajj, for example? How would I do the fasting? What is it that breaks my fast? And so on. So you can go to the scholars who try to derive the ahkam from the Quran and hadith traditions, right? But when it comes to usul al-din, why Allah subhanahu is just, why there are the necessity for prophets, why do I need to believe in the day of judgment? Okay? Why there's concept of imamah? This is something that you have to find out. Okay, you have to in fact, the questions and seeking knowledge is quite, in fact, recommended in this, because this is how we strengthen our mind. Why we are sitting here now? Because we want to strengthen our faith and iman, right? And this is, inshallah, going to be in that direction. So it's not by force. Imagine that I have forced you to come here. That's going to be useless, okay? That's not going to, like in a military base, okay? The soldiers, they have to be there, okay? That doesn't mean that they really believe. No, they have, because there's no way they can just escape it. But in order to have a strong aqeedah and belief, okay, you have to accept it yourself. And this comes through knowledge, okay? We seek knowledge, yeah? And so, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين. Now we can look at this from other perspective, okay? In fact, look at the second ayah, said, قد تبين الرشد من الغي. What does rushd mean? Anybody knows what is rushd? Because we have hidayah and dalala, and we have rushd and ghay. What's the difference? I want to see if you understand the difference between the two. Yeah? Anybody? Maturity? Yeah, we say sinna rushd is maturity. But in general, rushd means isabatul hadaf, right? Now, sometimes, so it means that you can hit the target, right? So that's the difference between hidayah. So the hidayah or guidance is ira'atul tariq. You show the path, okay? You want to be, for example, a school, you're going to get your PhD and be a professor in university. This is what you need to do, okay? So this is showing the path, okay? The roadmap, let's say. That's called hidayah, right? Versus dalala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you want to be successful in the akhirah? Okay, you need to believe in in my prophets. You need to believe in the Quran. You have to act upon this, right? Now it's our choice to do this or to not to do it, right? So ira'atul tariq, that's for everyone, guaranteed. But to rushd, it means no, actually getting to the target, to your objective, reaching your target, right? So since قد تبين الرشد من الغي, the right course has become clear from the wrong, okay? So there's no need to have ikrah and force and to impose your idea, right? Because in all of us, Allah has placed in our fitrah, in our innate, okay, that all of us, we try to be successful. We try to get to the right thing, right? So Allah has made us, أودعه فينا, right? He made us like deep inside our souls and innate, our fitrah, okay? So whatever, in fact, the deen, the religion, in fact, it's kind of pushes us toward answering that question that is deeply rooted in our heart. In fact, we enjoy being a religious, if it's the right religion, because it's something that complies with our necessities deep in our heart. It's not something that is ugly or we dislike it. No, it is exactly what we are looking for, okay? If our fitrah is clear, okay? Is clean, is not like have been dirted with vices, yeah? So it is something that it's part of us. In fact, if we really act upon it. So there is no need, in fact, to force. And this is, in fact, so whatever, anything that reaches you from the religion, okay? Okay, if you felt that this is something doesn't make sense, okay? It's against mind, it's against our fitrah, for sure, there are only two possibilities. Either this is not part of the religion, the true religion, because it has to comply with your mind, with your innate, with your fitrah, okay? Or it was described and conveyed to you in a wrong way, okay? Because there is no force, because there is no ikrah fid-din. Everything, in fact, you're going to enjoy the religion and the message, the message that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is it that hates justice, for example? لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. Allah أنزل الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. He has sent down the book and the الكتاب to what? To establish fairness and justice. Is there anybody that hates justice? No. Okay? So what is it that religion calls for? For high akhlaq, right? To be a discipline, to have the best of morals and ethics, right? To stay away from oppression. Is anyone really hates it? Okay? I know some people, they don't act upon it, okay? but like, for example, those oppressive governors, whoever, because it what contradicts their self-interest, مصالحهم الشخصية, right? But themselves, they don't like to be oppressed, right? Again, they would, object that why you are not fair to me, right? Everyone. Fairness is a common sense among all humans, regardless of your religion, right? And so on. So when you look about what religion is asking, is calling for, is exactly in full compatibility with our innate, with our fitra, right? So is there a necessity to apply force to accept it? No, right? Because it's really something we're going to enjoy it, correct? So there's la ikraha fi din. قد تبين الرشد, because became clear, like the right course has become clear from the wrong one. So whoever disbelieves, فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى. This is the beauty. Yes. Okay. Now since the rushd became clear from ghay. Okay. Oh Allah, how would I get to that rushd? Okay. What is the requirement? Yeah. And this is very important. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ. I can't get belief and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before I deny taghut. Okay? This is called, they call it takhliya and tahliya. Takhliya and tahliya means breaking all bad habits, all bad qualities, taking them out to let the light penetrate in your heart. Okay? When the heart is dirty, when qalb is qasi, is hardened, then there is no room for light to pass through, right? So we have to give up, in fact, get rid of all these bad habits and qualities, so then we start getting the light of guidance from Allah subhanahu. That's why Allah didn't say, فَمَنْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ وَيَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ, right? Because it's impossible to be a believer before you deny the taghut. Okay. Now, what is taghut? Taghut means, in general, tagha means mujawazatul had. You cross the limit, okay, of everything. Allah has set limits, right? We talked about like the laws of Allah subhanahu. Okay, mujawazatul had is taghut. Anything. Mujawazatul had, right? Taghut could be my hawa nafs. Taghut could be a person, could be a shaitan, could be money, could be power. Okay, any of these things in the dunya we see could become a taghut, right? And so we have to deny these, we have to take these out from our existence in order to be able to yu'min billah, the true iman, the true faith. Okay, so this is how we prepare ourselves. So the whole journey of the life is nothing other than getting rid of all these bad qualities and getting the good qualities. And this is the meaning of Khilafatullah. Remember, we said Khilafatullah in what? Being representative of Allah in what? In His names and quality. Allah is Rahim, so want to be Rahim. Allah is Kareem, want to be Kareem, to our capacity, right? Allah is Alim, so that's why we seek knowledge, and so on, right? So we get all these qualities and names of Allah. This is the true meaning of Khilafatullah, correct? So in order to now, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ. Now, what is the outcome? What is the result? فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Then he gonna grasp to the most trustworthy handhold. Now, istamsaka, we have masaka. Masaka means hold something. Okay, so for example, there's nothing I can't hold it. Yeah, probably this. This is masaka. Okay, so I hold it from falling. Okay, so I'm protecting this from falling. Istamsaka is the opposite. You hold on to something to protect you from falling. It's called istamsak, right? Seeking being whole. Yeah. فمن استمسك بالعروة فقد يؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى. Grasp the most trustworthy handhold of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, handhold of His guidance, of His rushd. So by doing this, by يكفر بالطاغوت وبالله فقد استمسك, we in fact we hold on, we grasp firmly to the handhold, okay, with no break in it, right? لا انفصام لها. لا انفصام لها, so it's never gonna break. And والله سميع عليم. I have to move a little faster. And finally, Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu. See the beauty of this, okay? The outcome of this. Remember, we said every phrase explains the previous one. So, oh Allah, you showed us the Rushd from Ghay, right? And then we want to make istimsak. We want to withhold to this grasp, the grasp to this handhold, right? Then what's going to be the outcome? Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati. If you remember last week, we talked about the concept of nur, of light, right? We said Allah is nur, the Prophet is nur, Quran is nur, right? We have ayat that talks about nur, the light, right? Not this materialistic light. We said that the role of light in this materialistic world is what? It shows us about. Imagine there was no light. We could have lived. There were no plants, no animals, nothing, right? Then the same thing, the light, the spiritual light, in fact, it sheds light in our life. And this is what is going to illuminate our path in the akhirah, right? That this is, in fact, what going to show us the path. Without this, we talked about this, like when the hypocrites would ask the believers, okay, please wait for us so we can, or look at us so we can take a portion of your light so we can see what's happening. They're going to be told, go back, means go back to dunya and seek light from there. It's here where you can seek it. Okay? Inshallah, by having this, for example, session class, we are seeking that light. And we're going to see the true face of this on that realm. Right? We see that. Okay. So, Allah waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum. So Allah is the ally of those who, or let's say supporters or helper of those who believe. He brings them out from darknesses into the light. And those who disbelieve, their allies are the tyrant. We just talked about taghut, right? Their allies are tyrant. Could be nafs, could be money, could be power. They take them out of their light into darknesses. Those are companions of the fire, and they will abide eternally there. Yeah? So Allah, what does wali mean, right? We say aliyun wali. What does wali mean? Wali, like it's really a weird words. It has about 27 meanings in Arabic, right? But now the meaning is, in general, means close friend. When there's nothing that, imagine two parties when they are so close in their relationship that nothing can kind of become an obstacle between the two, right? It's called wali. So it's the highest level of friendship, right? And closeness is called wali, right? So Allah becomes the wali. Now again, the wilayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in many areas, okay? Like al-wilayatu bil-nusra, al-wilayatu bil-mahabba wal-ataf, and so on. That's a different discussion. But Allah becomes the wali of alladheen, of those are believers. Imagine when Allah is the wali, okay, in fact, the deepest meaning of wali is someone, like we say wali al-amr, right? We say it in Arabic. Awliya al-umur means what? Those who take, usually to the parents, we say that awliya umur talab, right? Like the parents who take care of the affairs of their kids, right, as students. So it means someone who has the authority, okay, who take care of, who looks after like somebody else, right? It's called wali. So when Allah becomes wali, somebody who in fact take care of the affairs, imagine what's going to happen. Would you feel weak? Would you feel kind of, is he going to let you down? Okay. No, in fact, and are you going to be feeling distressed? No, right? Because Allah is what? Is holding my back. Okay, He is my wali. So Allah becomes wali ladhina amanu. And what's the impact of, what's the result? يُخْرِجُهُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. Okay, you see, يُخْرِجُهُم is continuous. It's present tense, right? It's not that once you take them from that. No. So in order for us to stay a believer, we need this. Every single moment, we need the wilayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stay on the right path. Okay? Because shayateen, all types of shayateen, including hawa nafs, they will deviate me from the right path into the darknesses. So every single moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wali. Okay? And that's what gonna, in fact, guarantees that we stay on the right path. Okay, that's why yukhrijuhum, not akhrajahum, not he took them, brought them out. No, he brings them out every single moment from the dhulumat into what? Into nur, to the light of guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yukhrijuhum min al-dhulumati ila an-nur. And وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, now the opposite for الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, since they decided not to act upon the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah will leave them to themselves. And the outcome of this, the implication is they're going to fall into the darknesses. Okay, يخرجهم من الظلم. Awliya, who's going to become the wali? The taghut, right? Taghut, who is, we said, like could be nafis, could be power, could be money, could be any of the attractions, right, that we see in the world. It becomes wali, and yukhrijunahum, then they're going to take them out from the nur, from the potential, okay? Now, the potential of the light into the actual darknesses. أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. And the fire, the hellfire, we seek refuge, استعيذ بالله, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in fact, is the true face of their deeds. Okay? That's why we have وقودها الناس والحجارة. The fuel of the fire is the nas, the people. So the fire is not something external. It's the true face of their bad deeds. It's going to turn into fire. Okay? That's going to, in fact, set them to fire. Okay? So if there were no people, there would have been no fire. You see, waquduha, like imagine, if there's no fuel, will you still have the fire? No. The fire needs fuel. When the fuel is the people, the wrongdoers. So that's why this is what the fire, you understand? This is how, in fact, it works. أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. Okay, so yeah, my target was to stop at 7. That was kind of a little description. So if I wanted to, let's summarize, because some people came a little late. So we're going to summarize the ayah quickly, okay? If I just go back from the beginning, okay, in 3-4 minutes, yes. So Ayatul Kursi, Bismillah ar-Rahman, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-Hayyul Qayyum. We said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, la ilaha, so this is the negation, there is no God but Him, okay, but illahu, okay, so negate, in order to accept Allah subhanahu, we have to deny, we have to negate all other false gods, right? Why He is la ilaha illahu, because He is the only Hayy, He is the source of life, and He is the Qayyum, who takes care of all the affairs of the heavens and the earth, right? La ta'khuduhu, no drowsiness, no sleep takes Him, and He has everything. Oh, whatever is the heavens and the earth is in His hand. And who is going to be the rules and laws that Allah has set? Okay, like cause and effect, they will never be independently out of His control. They always are under His control, right? So this is shafa'a takwiniyya, we said. يعلم ما به, He knows wherever is ما بين أيديهم, what is in front of them, which is the hereafter, the عالم الغيب, and then ما خلفهم, their origin, their source, okay, and whatever was in the past, and لا يحيطون بشيء, they will never encompass any portion of His knowledge except bima sha, right? So we should never feel like, they are claiming that they were a few days ago, you saw the robot gave birth to a baby or a bird. You might say, oh, what's good? But they are creating humans. Okay, what's this? Like this is, now that again has its own discussion, okay? But says, in fact, whatever we see is what Allah has given permission, right? Bima sha. Okay, and that's also, if we want to seek the knowledge that's not materialistic, it's through the Mashi'a al-Ilahiyya, right? And to see how we can get, Allah says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهِ, right? Want to get knowledge about, for example, what's going to happen in the unforeseen, in alam al-ghayb, whatever. So you have to make taqwa, for example, and so on. And wasi'a kursi, we said the kursi is a symbol of the knowledge of ilmullah ta'ala, right? And which is the foundation for the power. In order to be strong and powerful, you have to have a strong knowledge, right? If you are not knowledgeable of something, you can't control that, right? We give an example of a pilot or a driver, wherever. If they don't know how to do it, then how would they how to physically manage the things? وَلَا يَؤُودُ حِفْظُهُمَا, that never make him tired, protection of these, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. Then we continued with لَا إِكْرَاهَ فِي الدِّينِ. Right? We said there's no force, because in fact religion, what the religion is calling for is something that is beautiful, that we like it deeply in our innate, in our heart. Okay, if our fitra is clear, is clear from, is cleansed from all vices. right? Because the قد تبين الرشد من الغي, the right course is become clear from the wrong course. And now in order to get to that, so we need to يكفر بالطاغوت. We said it is important that first we يكفر بالطاغوت, we make the تخلية. تخلية means throwing away all the bad habits or bad qualities, right? All kind of, for example, lying, being jealous, arrogance, and all these things, right? In order to be able to absorb the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. You can't have two hearts, right? There's one heart. Heart here means not the, of course, this heart, right? The physiological heart. No, it means that at the end of the day, you know yourself. Like if Allah cannot be deceived, cannot be fooled, right? You have to decide, right, which path you want to take. But so whoever does this, they do the cleansing, they do تخلية and تحلية, ويؤمن بالله, believes in Allah, فقد استمسك. They're gonna, in fact, hold on to the trustworthy, most trustworthy handhold with no break in it. And Allah is سميع عليم. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Okay, is there any quick questions or something about what we talked about it? Okay, good. So yeah, we have to watch the time. So now the favorite part, it is the contest or the trivia. Present quickly, please. Oh, Doctor, everyone could see the answer. Anyway, so yeah, please join us. No. We got the answer. Yeah. Yeah, so please join us. This is Menti, so you enter menti.com if you haven't played that before, and you need to enter that code. Okay, choose your name. We have 3 lucky winners, inshallah. السؤال الأول كلهم شافوا الجواب. ما حطيتوه شو اسمه، لأن كان نحط على الفريز وبعدين بسيطة مش. بس البقية المهم كلها بعد تعرفون من هذا النكست وانتر نكست انتر. Okay, yeah, you need to hurry up. It's next. يا ريت إذا inshallah, after the contest, help yourself with little snacks that has been prepared for you. Thank you. ولكم الأجر والثواب. Okay, give you 1 more minute, okay, to quickly please join. And see for, so we have about 20 people. I should get 20. We're so late, as Jafar and Ali. You were not here last week and then now late. At least you could take part in our contest. Okay, yes. Good. Yoi, what are you doing? Please choose a normal name. Ready? See who's going to take these home? Okay, yeah, say Bismillah and good luck to everyone. First question, I think like everyone saw the answer. Anyway. No, yeah, go back. Enter, please. Yeah, press enter. Ayatul Kursi is contained in these ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah. Which ayat? You can't answer this wrong because the answer was there on the screen 3 times. We said it's called Ayatul Kursi, but it's made of probably more than one ayat. Yeah. Oh, how come like some people, it was there the answer, 255 to 257 on Surah Al-Baqarah, right? Let's look at the leaderboard, see who's where. Yeah. Okay. Well, things can change. Next question, please. If we had sent down this Quran upon a mountain, you would have seen it humbled and coming apart. In which surah? لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. It's in which surah? It wasn't the lecture, so we can't expect everything. I believe I have asked this question before, so I'm just checking to see. Surah Al-Hashr. No. Yeah, Surah Al-Hashr. Yeah. And after that, the Asma al-Husna starts. Huwallahu al-Malik I don't know the ayat exactly. Oh, that's surprising. Mostly people from Badin. Yeah. Ali Mardani, you're coming top. MashaAllah. You knew the answer. Okay, which surah starts with the longest detached letters, حروف المقطعة? You know, we have some like a 29, I think, surah starts with حروف المقطعة. Which one has the longest حروف المقطعة? Very good. Yes. Kaf ha ya ain sad, right? This is in fact that's Surah Maryam. You can make it up. That was a free fall, but you can make it up. Next question. The last person of Ahlul Bayt who went under the kisa, who was that? That's a repeated question. Who went under the kisa of Ahlul Bayt, the last person? We hear this Hadith al-Kisa many, many times, right? Who was the last person who entered? Oh, yeah. Hazrat al-Zahra is Fatima Zahra. Now, Jibreel alayhi he's not among Ahl al-Bayt. Okay, so this was tricky. So it's yeah. Okay, good. Next. This is from 2 lectures ago. This ayah refers to which possible meaning of the divine trust. Remember we talked about divine trust? Okay, we said different classes of divine. So which one is this? Is it God representation? Is it knowledge, intellect, or free will? I think it's very easy. Like, إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. Free will, of course. Yeah. هديناه إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. Either going to be thankful or disgraceful, in fact. So Yeah, some changes. Laith, you are on top now. Where's Laith? What is the second name of Surah Fatir? Some surahs have two different names. All right. So what is the second name of Surah Fatir? الحمد لله فاطر السماوات وجاعل الملائكة رسلا أولي أجنحة. Right? This is Surah Al-Malaika. So don't worry, like we are learning, okay? So even if you answer this wrong, جاعل الملائكة رسلا أولي أجنحة. Yeah. So we have now close competition at the top. We are half the way. Okay, things still can change. You're there at the lead. Oh, good. Keep up the good work. What is the meaning of sinah? إن لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. We just said it, right? I kept repeating it just as a hint. Like this could have been a question. Sinah means what? Drowsiness, right? نعاس يعني نعاس. Let's see. Okay. Next. Kursi is a symbol of God's what? Again, I just mentioned it many times. Is a symbol of knowledge, power, generosity, or mercy. Kursi. Knowledge, ilmullah, yes. Al-Arsh, we said is power, right? Al-Arsh. But Kursi is knowledge. And Ali, you disappeared. Okay. Still late at the lead. And yes, followed by. So you lost your position? Not third, fourth? So what does that mean? فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ refers to negation and proof, specific and generic, or cleansing and beautifying. If you are listening, the answer is there, like piece of cake. If you are listening, that's the condition. We said it is a التخلية والتحلية, right? Cleansing and beautifying. يكفر بالطاغوت. Yes. La ilaha is a negation. And then, so, yeah. Okay. Good. 3 more questions to go. Let's see if this is going to change our leaderboard. This chapter ends with one of the daily prayer times. We had a different, like another one that ends with a daily prayer time. Which surah? Which chapter? As a hint, it's recommended to recite it in the month of Ramadan. Recite it a lot. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. Come on. Yeah, it says Fajr is correct, but it's inside Surah Al-Qadr. Right? سلام هي حتى, it ends with سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. No, where's the, can you please go back to see that the leaderboard, how did it change? You are in rush, Doctor. I know, yeah, the time. So. Oh, nothing changes. So, yeah. Sorry. Next. We're still good. We have 9 minutes. Yes. Enter, please. Enter. Okay. In this chapter, the story of Prophet Adam was not mentioned. Was not. Okay, again, we had this before, right? Surah Taha, Al-Baqarah, Al-A'raf, Al-Anbiya. Which one was not? So in 3 of these, it was mentioned, but in 1 of them, it's not. And most people answered that wrong last time. Let's see this time. Okay. Yeah, exactly the same thing happened. If I keep asking the same question 100 times, again, I get the same result. I don't know how is the learning taking place. So, Anbiya, like we spent the whole, like, a couple of lectures on Surah Taha because it was talking about the story of Adam alayhi salam. Anyway, the last question. Let's see. Enter. This surah starts with Alif Lam Mim, and it is highly recommended to be recited on the biggest night of Qadr. ليش هذا صاير blue? If you click on it, thank you. This surah is recommended to be recited in Laylatul Qadr and starts with Alif Lam Mim. Surah Ar-Rum, very good, yes. Next, yeah. No. Sure. Oh, still. Zahra. Yeah. Who is Zahra? You? Zahra, come here. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. ما شاء الله. Very well. Congratulations. And second is that Rawan? Yeah. Oh, Akid? Shukran. Yeah. So she donated, kindly donated her gift to the second person. So HH, who's triple H? Oh, you? MashaAllah. Congratulations. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And then the fourth gonna go to the, yeah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. So thank you very much for taking part in this and listening to the lecture. Inshallah, next week, gonna mark our last class in this blessed Dora, right? Quran. And we're gonna have, inshallah, a celebration. It's gonna coincide with a happy wiladat of